and welcome back to the Tabletop Tavern. Eylas U, my name is Jenny. I will be your dungeon master now and forever, so get used to it. My pronouns are she, her. Those aren't necessarily forever. Gender is fluid. Who knows, you know? Like, always be ready for change is what I say. I'm going to allow my beautiful, wonderful, talented players to introduce themselves, but first, real quick, this is the season 1 finale for Eylas U. I just want to thank my wonderful players for being here, for putting up with me, for showing up on time, all the time. You guys have done such a fabulous job. And starting with someone who's done a fabulous job on their very first season as a consistent player here all the time, let's begin with Stacy. Stacy, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Stacy. I use she, her pronouns, and I will be playing Rosalie Motley today.
Hi, I'm Pippin. I use they, them, and I'm playing Vesper Thornquill.
Hi, I'm Cam. I also use they, them, and I am playing Essie Hepburn.
I'm Vic. My pronouns are she, her, and I play Fleur Farrow.
I'm Doe. My pronouns are also she, her, and I play Ian Farrow.
And also, we should thank Jenny. Jenny doesn't get to, you don't get to
Jenny.
sneak in a thank you to us, and then we don't get to sneak in a thank you to you. It was a nice try.
Thank you for letting me go back to college.
The timestamp for that one is 6:09 for when you cut that part out, so it doesn't seem like we have a fair power balance here.
We're just gonna randomly thank you throughout the stream, so don't.
There's too many moments.
Just whisper.
You think I'm going to edit that out? Think again.
Yeah, I'm gonna
There's
kick
just a
your
bunch
asses.
of random cuts.
This is a very
Making us
interesting
cry.
time for my players to be picking some fights with me, because last time on the Tabletop Tavern, we saw our party members in the Feywild, in the frozen castle of the Queen of Air and Darkness. Here it was revealed that the Queen of Air and Darkness is, in fact, Ian's birth mother. A battle ensued after she refused to let you all leave and instead insisted on keeping Ian and Cami trapped in the Feywild to ensure her nefarious plans to transfer power from the Summer Court back into the hands of the Winter Court. You ultimately defeated the Queen of Air and Darkness, but not without some casualties. And the aftermath of these casualties is where we pick back up. You are still on the icy frozen plain of the Feywild in the court of Gloaming. On the frozen floor of this ice fortress kneels Fleur Farrow, Ian Farrow, and Rosalie Motley around the broken, battered body of Camilla Medelia, Ian's birth sister and Fleur's best friend, who sacrificed her life so that Rosalie could bring Ian back from the brink. Vesper, I believe when we left off, you were over by the throne, correct? You were looting, which, you know, you gotta respect someone really sticking to the central D&D tenets of when everyone else is having emotions, you gotta go loot.
Yeah. It was in the syllabus. I'm just following directions.
It's not a
Exactly.
necessity. Yeah, exactly.
And Essie, you had just brought 2 items over to your friends. The first being the Queen's crown, which is covered in diamonds in the shape of icicles, and a frozen bow for Ian. So we pick up where we left off in a realm of solitude and sadness where the 2 emotions could not possibly be stronger.
Fleur. No, I was just gonna say Fleur is like shaking, like holding Ian's, like I think his whole half like shoulders up are on her lap currently.
He kind of just whispers to Fleur, I'm okay, it's fine.
You're not okay though. You're not okay. I mean,
I'm
you're okay now, but you're not okay.
But
Ian.
I'm alive. It's
Yes,
Rosalie
yes.
saved me.
Yes.
And then Ian
yes.
kind of tries to push himself up a little bit off of Fleur's lap
Please be careful.
and looks around and sees Cami next to him wearing his jacket. And he goes to check in on Cami and says, Cami?
Is she okay?
And he looks at Rosalie. She's okay, right?
Rosalie won't make eye contact with Ian and she's going to take off her rose tinted glasses and put them on top of her head again. And she's going to look at Ian and says, she wanted Ian,
Mhm.
she's not okay, but she wanted you to know that she was glad that she got to know you as a brother, and she was happy to have you as a brother. She always wanted one.
She's
You can
Ian-
fix her though, right?
Rosalie looks at her hands and looks at Fleur and says, no, Fleur.
We
I
need to go
can't.
then. Who can? Can your mom?
Maybe. I mean,
Okay.
I-
Fleur runs to Cami's body and picks her up.
okay.
I think Ian remains sitting to some extent, like just confused by everything and shocked. I know he spent a lot of time out during this fight. And he just kind of like looks at his own hands for a minute. And kind of just, I think he's probably spending a lot of time reflecting on the fact that they just beat up his mom. His mom tried to kill him. His supposedly like biological birth sister is presumably dead. Because I don't think he's had a moment to really like sit and process all of this yet.
In the meantime, I desperately, Rosalie, I'm gonna look around and do I notice Aspen down?
Roll a perception check. I'm gonna say that normally you would just be able to see this, but you've there's a lot going on, I think, emotionally and physically.
18.
Yeah, you notice Aspen down. Macbeth is kind of nudging him. You can see one of Aspen's eyes open very briefly to look at Macbeth and then close again. Macbeth is whining too.
Oh my God. And Rosalie's gonna stand up and rush over to Macbeth. Not Macbeth, well, to Macbeth and Aspen. And immediately cast Cure Wounds.
As
first
Rosalie
level.
does that, I think Fleur is going to call out to Vesper, Ves.
Yeah, I think seeing that, even without like prompting, hearing the word hospital and seeing what's sort of gone down and hearing Rosalie say that she can't do anything and knowing that he can't either, they hold their spell book like to their chest really tight for a second and then put it down and like just look at the ring on their hand. And he just he like looks at Fleur and is like, let's go home. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's trying to like summon there's no spell, like there's no words to read.
Do you know
there's
how
no
to get us
gestures
home?
to do. And it's like just looking desperately at the ring of like, I know this can
Okay.
not, I don't like, and
Do
it's
you
like,
think it can get us to the hospital?
I can get us at presumably anywhere. I could drop
Okay.
us at the ER.
Okay, yes, okay.
But
That's
so
great.
but so I just sit and try and make this happen for the first time.
I'll have
as-
you roll an Arcana check. As you do that, Essie, is there anything in particular you want to do?
I mean, I already have the crown. I gave the bow over to Ian. Is there any chance, absolutely any chance, that there is some kind of potion of healing around? Or anything that might help?
You can roll an investigation check.
Let's see.
You can also
That's a
put the crown
20.
in Fleur's bag of holding if you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna pop it in there.
Yeah.
Good call.
Fleur will do the thing that she always does.
Fleur holds open the sequined bag of holding. You kind of manage to squeeze the crown in there, and you glance around the room. You do notice behind the throne what appears to be like a glimmering vial of something. It looks to be a potion. It doesn't look like any healing potion you've seen before, but it's definitely a potion. You do also realize as you kind of grow closer to look at it, if it's consumed on this plane, whoever consumes it will have to stay here.
Oh, fuck.
it's
Ooh. I'll take it, but I won't consume it or like, encourage
Yeah.
anyone to. I'll just be like, hey, this is here.
Perfect.
You know.
Add the unknown vial to your inventory. All right, Rosalie, you cast Cure Wounds on Aspen, and he opens his eyes and gives you like a little blurry lick on your hand. And Macbeth barks a little bit playfully, and then snuggles up against Aspen's side. In your bra, awake finally is Strahd, who you feel her little tentacle kind of like slap up and suck her against your face very gently as if she's giving you a little kiss, and then release. And she climbs out and onto your shoulder.
Hi, Strahd. At least I can help one of Ian's friends this way.
She gives you a little sandpaper tongue kiss on your cheek.
Good kitty.
Rosalie, you helped all of us.
Not enough.
It was enough. It was more than enough.
Okay. Vesper, I think you're right. I think we need to go home. I don't know if we were prepared for this.
I go up to Rosalie and I like take her like one hand and just squeeze really hard and go, we wouldn't be going home if it wasn't for you.
Ian like punches his fist into the ground and just lets out like a guttural.
He's
like,
in his dramatic
scream.
era.
And he's like, "It's not your fault, Rosalie. This is my fucking fault.
Ian,
if I
shut
had it,
up.
no, not now, Fleur. Not
Oh, really?
now. I followed that stupid creature. I barely said a word
It
to
was
Cami once we
dragging
got
you.
her. I just sat here and talked shit to a woman I don't even know who clearly doesn't give a fuck about me.
Well, she's
And-
dead now.
And now so is my sis.
Not if we
sister.
get back.
You don't know that. It's not your fault, Rosalie.
The longer we stay here,
I know. Let's go. I know.
the
I
more
just,
likely it is that she's going to be gone, right? Right,
just-
Rosalie?
It's not your fault.
Rosalie, look at me. You did a great job. We are first-year students. You are not supposed to be perfect.
We have to get to Dr. Motley.
We have to get to your mom.
Okay. Okay. Rosalie's gonna stand up and squeeze a little bit on Vesper's holding my hand, and squeeze a little bit Vesper's hand, and kind of compose herself a little bit. And okay. Yeah, okay.
Vesper, you are an exceptionally talented wizard. I know if anyone can figure this ring out, it's you.
What was your Arcana check?
12.
Not great.
The good news was it was a DC 10.
Oh.
Vesper, you hold up your hand. It's trembling. The ring on it glows with powerful purple light that flashes so brightly for a moment none of you can see. And when your eyes once again find focus, there is a circular opening in the plane in front of you, glowing with strange ethereal light. On the other side, it is not cold in the way it is here. Rather, it is a natural, wintry kind of evening. It's beginning to grow dark wherever it is. You can see a glowing light above a door that reads entrance, and you realize that what you are seeing through this hole in space and time is in fact the entrance to the emergency department at Her Lady's Grace Hospital.
I knew you could do it. And then Fleur goes through.
Ian stands up and calls to Aspen and kind of takes a quick moment to kind of hug his dog and just recollect himself and follows after.
Aspen gives you a kiss on the cheek.
Oh,
Good boy.
Rosalie, Essie, Vesper, do you all pass through the portal?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yes.
I probably go through last in a half fear of like
Yeah.
What might it like no,
What if
I'm
you
making
go
sure
before
everyone goes
someone
through
else?
first.
Yeah.
It's like so
What
she's
if you get through and it
walk
closes?
with the ring, just walking through like
He's for sure holding Rosalie's hand and like also just trying to see Macbeth.
Macbeth is following along with you in perfect lockstep as you and Rosalie step through the portal. Vesper follows shortly behind you, and Vesper, as you step through into the material plane where it is beginning to snow, the portal closes behind you. You find yourself standing in front of the emergency department. The door before you slides open automatically, and right as you go to step through it, you catch a smell on the air of cigarette smoke and turn. Behind you, about 200 feet away from the building, is Dr. Vivian Motley, dressed in scrubs, her hair tied back into a ponytail, smoking a cigarette, presumably on a break from her shift. Right as you see her, she catches sight of you, drops the cigarette, and runs towards you all. Rosalie, immediately, she embraces you and goes, "Oh, baby, I was so worried. Are you okay? Are you all right? You look tired. Are you okay? Is she okay? What's going on?"
Dr. Motley, our friend is dead.
She spins around to see you holding Cami and immediately steps towards you and goes, "Okay, all right. How long?"
Maybe 3 minutes.
All right, everyone in. We'll get you checked in after we get you a room. Come on, everyone in.
Fleur starts following.
She still hasn't really let go of Rosalie. Rosalie, she's holding your other hand, the one not holding Cami's, and she leads you all through the emergency room, past various people of various races. There's an orc with a hatchet through their arm, a kid with what appears to just be a regular nosebleed, a woman in active labor, just like the strangest assortment of characters. It, again, appears to be maybe early evening, maybe 6 or 7 p.m. as you pass through the emergency room, down a hallway, and into what appears to be a critical care room. Dr. Motley lets go of Rosalie's hand and gestures to the bed and says, "Okay, put her down."
Fleur lays her down.
And she opens a cabinet behind her and begins to pull out what appears to be supplies. What happened? What's going on?
So we went to the Winter Court to get Rosalie, and then it turns out Rosalie had been sent to the same place as Cami. This is our friend that's been missing for months.
This is who?
And then Cami, Camilla Medelia. I think her last name's Medelia, right?
Yeah, she freezes for a moment, sticks her head out the door, and shouts something in a language you don't recognize, Fleur, down the hallway to a passing nurse who stops and looks at her and begins to sprint off towards the nurse's station. Okay, so continue. I'm so sorry.
And then it's okay. So we've obviously found Rosalie and Cami, and then we had to fight the Winter Queen, which was a lot.
Yes,
Mommy?
But she's gone. She's dead.
Yes,
she died of exhaustion.
Okay, all right, thank you. That's more of the information I was looking for. All right, exhaustion. How? What happened? Typically, people can't move before that happens.
She's been in the and Rosalie.
I go up to Rosalie too. And it's just like I take her hand again, and I look up at Dr. Motley and go, it seems she was getting more and more exhausted the longer she spent in the Feywild, and she's been missing for so long that when she helped Rosalie heal revivify Ian, and we think maybe that was it.
Ian like tugs on his sleeve and he's like, it's she's my sister. I don't know if blood transfusions. And then Ian just kind of like pulls out his phone, and I think he's gonna quickly text his dad and just say like, I fucked up. Can you help? ?
Dr. Motley kind of watches all of you go back and forth, sort of takes in the scene. In her hand, she's got like these vials full of sparkling dust that she's lining up into a, I don't even know the word for it. This is bad. You use them in high school. They hold vials.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, like a test tube holder. She's lining them up. She pauses for a moment and steps towards all of you and goes, "It's going to be okay. Ian, she's been fully dead for a while. There's nothing blood is going to do for you. I think you all need to take some deep breaths." And then she turns to you, Rosalie, and takes your hands in hers and looks down at you. Do you look at her, or looks up at you because you're a little bit taller than her? Do you look at her, or do you?
I'm probably still looking at Cami and not looking at my mommy yet.
She's gonna take one hand and sort of gently turn your face towards hers and go, "Sweetheart, we can't save everyone. That's part of this path, is knowing that you have an incredible gift, but that gift is not unlimited."
But mommy, I could have. I fucked up. I wasn't. I should have known. I should have passed midterms, and I should have paid attention. And if I was paying attention, she.
Sweetheart. These things happen. No matter how smart you are, no matter how good at spells you are, no matter how hard you try to make sure it doesn't happen, you have to make really hard choices. The choices we have to make might be the hardest choices of anyone in your group, okay? You are going to have to decide when to heal people, when to help people fight. You are going to have to decide what's worth it and what's not, and those aren't easy choices, but the choice that you make, as long as your heart tells you in the moment it's the right one, is the right decision, baby, okay? You are not alone. I have lost people I care about, and I have blamed myself, and when you blame yourself and you get stuck in this cycle of saying, it's my fault, it keeps you from helping the people who are still there next to you, okay?
With that, Rosalie will hug Vivian and kind of look around at her party.
Vivian holds you really close and just smooths your hair on the back of your head as you look at your friends.
While they're doing this, Fleur goes over to Ian and kind of like grabs his arm and leans on his shoulder, because she's also like got a level of exhaustion from the one thing that I did. She's tired as hell, so she just leans on him while they're talking.
Ian like reaches up or reaches down, I guess, to like touch her head for a minute, and then just kind of exhales a little bit.
And I think with those comments, Rosalie's gonna put her glasses back on and kind of look at Vivian and kind of say, she gave up her last level of exhaustion, mommy, for us. If we could bring her back, I don't know if we can, but she really deserves to live. I know a lot of people do, but she was so scared and so alone for so long.
Okay, sweetheart, I'm gonna do my best, okay? And we'll talk after this, but I'm gonna try to help your friend. It might take a little while. Do you guys want to stay here? Do you want to go out to the waiting room? Do you?
Can we stay here?
Waiting room if you want space.
What's easier for you?
You can stay here. If it's too much to be out there, it's fine. And she begins to collect the vials. And you watch as she begins to uncork them and sprinkle their contents along Cami's body on the bed. And you can hear her whispering a prayer of some kind as she begins to run her hands sort of over the length of Cami's body, just inches from the actual skin, closing her eyes. And you can see this sort of like brilliant golden red light begin to emanate from her hands.
Fleur kind of like looks at everyone and goes, okay, we survived. We should probably text all of our parents.
As you say that, Ian, your phone buzzes.
Ian even pulls out his phone to check the message.
There's a text from your dad that just says, "Where are you?"
Ian responds back that they're at the ladies' hospital, not far from the school.
All right, you send that off. There's no reply, but you assume that he got it. You're back on the material plane.
Yeah. Ian
He's
just
speeding over.
grunts and he's like, I texted Dad.
Okay. Vesper, Cami, or Cami? Cami's dead.
Essie.
I'm so sorry I did this. I promise the next NPC will not have a name that's similar to anyone's name.
That's
Unrelated, this is my new NPC, Victor.
Vic for short.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. You don't have to text them if you don't want to. I know, and Essie, I totally get it.
Actually,
Do you want your
Or maybe
sister?
text your dad so I can beat him up. You know, like we're already on a roll.
I really want my mom right now.
I would text her.
Can you ask your mom how Carla is?
Yes. And Fleur kind of pulls out her phone. Hey, Mom. Ian texted Dad about what's going on. How is Carla? Essie wants to know.
Thank you.
Send.
You get an immediate response.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
It is like 8 separate pictures delivered to your phone. The first is Carla
Where turns your
in
phone?
one of those little cardboard birthday hats,
I'm
covered
gonna
in
cry.
frosting, just like purple and pink frosting smeared all over her face, waving a just frosting covered Barbie doll, which is of course a body positive doll aimed towards children.
Yeah.
Waving it towards the camera with utter excitement. The next picture is Carla in the backyard in what appears to be a brand new sandbox, throwing sand at the camera.
Yeah.
God, Fiona is spoiling her.
Oh, yeah.
There's also a picture of
A+ mom.
what you recognize to be Ian's old room, with Fiona smiling at the camera that's very clearly taken from like a low angle. It's super blurry, but she appears to be painting the room pink.
Okay. Classic.
And then there's
Coughs for a minute.
there also
How long
appears
have
to
we
be
been gone? Is this
a-
been like 24 hours?
a picture
Fiona works fast.
of Carla seated at the dinner table. It looks like it was probably taken just now, holding up a dragon-shaped chicken nugget.
That's adorable.
I think she's doing good.
Followed with good exclamation point. Talked to Mom. Sounds like we will have house guest for at least the next several months.
Okay.
Your
Fleur
mom rocks.
finishes showing the text and goes, "Isn't she the best?"
Seriously.
Yeah. I love her. Fleur texts her mom back.
Ian's like, my room.
Cry about it. And she like play punches him.
He kind of like,
Oh, you
takes
probably
it.
can't take that. Sorry. You have
and then
like
he,
1
like,
HP
a
right
tear
now.
falls. And we're not sure if it's pain or like
Or happiness. Essie actually is gonna kind of like talk to Ian at the side a little bit, if that's okay.
Fleur is on his shoulder, so she might
Yeah.
hear everything you're saying.
Yeah, I
You can
assume
also
might.
like pull him
That's
out into the
okay.
hallway if you want to have a private conversation too.
No, I didn't need to be super private, but I do want to like. Hey, Ian. You know what you were saying earlier in the Feywild about how you felt like this was all your fault, and I know it probably doesn't mean a lot now, but how you were born is not your fault. I am so glad I got to meet you. I mean, you helped me train Macbeth so much, and you're a really good brother. And you were a really good brother to both of your sisters.
Ian just like grabs Essie and pulls them in for a hug.
Fleur steps away. Like,
And just like
That's
like,
gonna get
just-
Fleur in here too.
just
okay,
like
well, then
probably
Fleur goes
holds-
for it.
probably holds a little too tight, and he says, like whispers into her ear, "Thank you. Although I don't really feel like I've been the best brother to one of my sisters, but hopefully I still have time." And he kind of like pulls back for a second and looks over at Dr. Motley and Cami just to check in.
As we're
Dr.
still
Motley
hugging,
again
I
just
kinda
has her
wanna-
eyes squeezed shut and is very obviously focusing on a spell. It's like as if you guys aren't even in the room.
Before they let go, I'm gonna look at Vesper and Rosalie and be like,
Fleur
This
truly
is
is the
not up
leader.
for debate. "Let's go.
Rosalie comes
Come in
over.
for the hug."
Vess looks hesitant.
Rosalie,
Yeah.
Rosalie will grab Vesper's hand and come in. We'll all come in. for this.
Helpful. It's just like that's a lot of.
We just went through
lot
a
of
lot,
contact.
guys.
Yeah, we need a moment.
Ian like kind of goes a little like stiff when everybody comes in, and
Yeah,
then he's just like,
I think Vesper does too, and I think Vesper finds Ian's hand
Aw.
and
We're
are
all
like,
holding hands.
You all
About that is just so perfect.
are in this like hug with varying degrees of comfort at the level of contact that you're experiencing. Vesper, you really are on the edges. You're sort of doing the like, I want to
Yeah.
participate, but I really like this is a little
Not my
much.
thing.
Ian finds Vess's hand and holds it back.
Mhm.
Ian gives you a reassuring squeeze, and as you all sort of untangle from each other, the door to the room cracks open, and you see the same nurse from earlier. A beautiful tiefling woman, very obviously tired. She looks to be in her 40s, maybe. Leans in and goes, "I'm so sorry. There's a Mr. Jack Farrow here for all of you. If you want to come out to speak to him."
Yes.
Ian like rushes to the door. I
Fleur's
think
right behind him.
You guys are in the middle of the hug.
it doesn't matter. Jack's
We are
here.
like-
Breaks apart. You really think Fleur doesn't have the strength?
But we're all injured.
Yeah.
So I guess they'll go into the hallway to see Jack.
All right. Do you follow Fleur?
Oh yeah, I'm right behind Ian.
Are the rest of you staying in the room?
Maybe we should give them a minute.
Yeah, I was like, I'll probably stay in the room.
Vesper, are you staying as well?
Yeah, I think so.
The two of you go into the hallway and follow the nurse to a sort of secluded waiting area. There's an orchid in a vase on a table, a fish tank kind of quietly bubbling. In the fish tank, you can see all kinds of strange, wondrous fish, a few of which appear to be arcane in origin.
Ooh.
A little strange. Normally, Ian, you would find this fascinating to see strange new animals, but you were instead sort of drawn to the man standing in the corner. Your father is in a crisp black suit, a pressed white shirt,
Fabulous.
a
Great
tie.
look.
He has his wraparound shades that he tends to wear tucked into the shirt, and his arms are crossed as you approach, but he uncrosses them and sort of awkwardly looks at the nurse, who gives him a nod and turns and leaves. At
Fleur
which
goes and
point
hugs him.
he opens up his arms to both of you.
Yep.
Ian does not stop walking. You just walk straight to his dad to get a hug.
He seems a little surprised that you're giving him a hug of your own accord, but he wraps his arms around both of you and goes, so I heard what happened.
How did you?
How?
I literally just said I fucked up. How did you know how I fucked up?
Um,
The nurse says
the
told the
department
KCI?
got a call from
Yeah.
the nurses.
The banking department?
Ian, I feel like there's a lot I need to explain to you.
Okay.
And clearly you've figured out parts of it, but I'm not an investment banker. I work for the government, and I work in intelligence services.
To be fair, you were always kind of bad at math.
It's a little bit rude, but you've been through a lot today, so I'm just gonna breeze right past.
He literally
when we need
died,
help on
Dad.
homework, I died like real.
No, like
died.
he died, and then
First-
Fleur breaks
first-
down.
The first time's a little bit hard.
Yeah.
It's okay. He like sort of like holds you against his chest and goes, "It's
I'm
all right.
sorry.
He's
First
here
time?
now. He's here now."
First time, Dad.
Um,
And then he just like waves his hand like, I don't care. And he's like, Cammy's my sister. And she's also still very, and he like can't say the word. And
She's gonna be fine.
And he just like squeezes his fists and he's like, my birth mom killed us.
So, I have to say, as you know, the feelings thing is really more of your mom's deal, but I'm gonna do my best here. Ian, Cami is, or was, or is your biological sister. That doesn't mean that we are not your family. It does not make your mom not your mom. Your mom is...
No. I meant my real mom, and
I
she's
know,
not my
yeah,
mom.
and so that means that she's not your mom. Your
Yeah,
family
you're-
is not who gives birth to you, it's who loves you and who raises you, and you are our son. And whoever chose to abandon you and mistreat you is not your family, we are. So let's get that one out of the way. Camila is in the hands of what I understand to be the best physician on this side of the continent, who I am sure is doing her very best to care for her. I think it's quite lucky that you brought her straight here, because Dr. Motley does not necessarily pass the government's checks for security issues, but she
said things about Molotovs before.
a very talented cleric, so she will do her best. And Ian, I'm sure this whole thing has been very hard for you, but none of it is your fault. You are not responsible for your circumstances of birth, and you are not responsible for your presence here. I made choices. And whatever these...
Dad, right into her freaking.
It was dragging him.
No, it was small. I'm tall.
There were like
tiny.
10 of them.
But then I started shit. I called her.
She was gonna try and kill us no matter what, Ian. If you didn't stay there willingly, she was gonna try and kill us. And even if you did stay there willingly, she was gonna try to kill the rest of us.
Ian,
If I was a better shot, if I was a better
you what? You could have shot her back to life. You could have laden her down with arrows until she was alive again. Ian, there are different people in a party. When you come to this school, you understand that you are going to have to make decisions no one else will ever have to make. And I have made a fair share of them. And those decisions are not your fault. What you do that is best in the moment may not always have the best possible outcome, but oftentimes that is because that outcome is impossible. From what I understand, there was a choice made, and if that choice was not made, my son would be dead, and I would be the one burying a child today. So I am very glad you are in front of me. Because I do not know what I would do, what your mother would do, what your sister would do, if it was you on that bed, but I can assure you that we would not be okay. We would not survive this.
I might have to bury a sister. I don't even know. That I don't even get the chance to know.
He puts a hand on your shoulder and looks you deep in the eyes, with eyes the same color as Fleur's, the same shape, the same kind of piercing intensity, as he goes, I'm really really sorry, Ian. And if I was allowed to be honest with you, I want you to know I would have told you everything about who you were and where you came from, if I could. But
I just don't know what to say. We've known, and I didn't know, and she knew, and
yeah. Well,
I guess Fleur knew because freaking India.
I didn't
or
know
whatever.
much.
my hands were tied by forces a lot more powerful than any I can reckon with, and I did my best to protect you and to keep you safe, and I'm sorry that I could not promise that to Camila. And Ian, that's my fault. I am the adult here. I am the parent here. You were a child. In fact, Ian, you really are still a child. You are 18 years old. No one can expect you to be perfect, to make life or death decisions, just like it is unfair of us to ask your friend in there to make life or death decisions for the people on her college dorm floor. None of that is okay, and you are not at fault for any of this.
Thanks. It's just really fucked up.
It is really fucked up. And when all of this is cleared up, when I get back from my assignment, which we'll talk about later, you and Fleur and your mother and I are all going to talk about what this means for us as a family, and we're going to talk about maybe meeting with someone once a week, because your mother thinks that it would be best for all of us to talk about this, the mediator. So,
She's already thinking about therapy.
That's mom, though.
She's been trying to get you into therapy since the day we adopted you.
Oh.
You have been... Ian, I love you. Would have thought you were my own kid with how stubborn you are.
You did raise me, so to be fair.
That's true. Nature versus nurture. Who's to say?
And I met my real mom, and she's
A bitch.
stubborn in a different way. Yeah, she's a bitch.
Speaking of which, language, we do have a new friend staying with us, so in the house you gotta...
Yeah, do I not have a room anymore?
You like to camp.
You can share with me, Ian. It's fine.
You spent the years 12 through 14 sleeping in the backyard in a sleeping bag.
It's true, you did do that.
Thought it wouldn't
Something
be
about the stars.
We can always put bunk beds in
Honestly.
Fleur's room again. We'll figure it out. It's she's excited. And I think an empty nest was a little bit hard for her. So
I think Carla needs it too.
yes,
We got to talk about that too.
we will. You know,
As
you
There's
will-
some other
excited.
stuff going on with that we didn't really have time to tell mom. Like,
Oh yeah, we might need to kill someone else.
You
and
have,
also like the kid was like promised to the Fae already. It's a lot, Dad.
how about
There's
you
like a
all-
warlock too.
Yeah.
Okay,
Dad.
this is too much. I have no context for what you're talking about.
We'll tell you.
So all of this is a lot for me. What I'm going to say is, why don't you all go back? The nurse will bring you some heal potions. You can go talk to your friends, and then why don't I take you all out for some ice cream and we can talk.
Oh, that would be so good.
I don't know if I want
Um,
anything icy right now, to be honest. After
Well, they have hot fudge sundaes.
that sounds great. That sounds great. Anything that's the antithesis of.
Are our friends coming too?
They will, but
Okay.
why don't you go talk to them, and when you're ready, I'll be out in the parking lot
Okay.
with the minivan,
Okay.
and you can all fit in there.
Perfect.
Of course, you
That's-
brought
thank
the
you, Dad.
minivan.
Well, I wanted to bring the SUV, but your mom's trying to talk me into selling it, and I had to clean it because apparently it's not safe for kids. Anyways, go ahead.
Okay.
Go talk to your
Dad.
friends.
We love you.
Ian kind of lingers for a second and like looks his dad in the eyes, and he's like, I saw this picture last time I was home. And he like pulls out his sending phone and opens to that picture of his dad holding him in the hospital the day that Fleur was born. And he kind of like just kind of holds it up for a second so he can see what he's talking about. And he just exhales for a minute and then like slowly turns to like look at his dad in the eyes. And he's like, I'm really sorry, Dad.
Oh, go ahead.
I always thought that you didn't like me as much as Fleur. And I thought it was because I was adopted. And I don't know, I saw this picture and I realized I was wrong. So thank you for coming.
Your dad, you look up at him, and this is a very stoic man, but you see just profound emotion on his face, and you remember that this is, he's a barbarian. This is where Fleur gets her depths of emotional range. And you look up at your dad and you see tears in his eyes. You've never seen him cry, but he is looking at the picture, and he looks at you, and the expression on his face is exactly the same as it was the first time that he held you in this very hospital. And he goes, that was the first time in my life I ever disobeyed orders. And I looked down at you and looked up at me with those eyes and gave me a tiny little smile, and that was it. I knew you were my son, and Ian,
yeah,
you have nothing to apologize for. You were a kid. There were a lot of unanswered questions, and there was never any doubt in my mind that I loved you just as much as I loved your sister. And I'm sorry that doubt existed for you, because that means that I wasn't showing you enough. And I'm sorry that I wasn't listening to you trying to tell me that that's what was happening.
It was doubt of my own making.
You don't have to apologize for that, Ian. That's not on you. That is not on you. That's on us. We needed to make sure that you got the resources you needed. And we assumed you were fine because you seemed fine, but we should have asked. And that's my fault, Ian. So I'm sorry.
My life was good, and you guys treated me. You didn't treat me like your kid. I am your kid, so you can't say that. But like, I just felt like I needed to feel sorry for myself, I think.
Puts an arm around you and squeezes you really tight and goes, well, if you weren't brooding, you wouldn't be in.
And like, literally lets out like a scoff and a chuckle, and it's like,
we love you just the way you are. Temper tantrums and all. We think that you are, well, you're just, we love you. I love you, and I'm really proud to call you my son.
I love you too, Dad.
You're the best gift I ever got.
He goes in and gives him another hug, and then like tries to like wipe his eyes and like brush off his shirt and stand up straight before
he watches you do that, and he goes, yeah, you wouldn't want that pretty cleric girl you were telling your mom about to see you cry,
she told me she wasn't gonna tell you.
We're married. We share everything. Literally the moment you left the house.
Okay. Well, I need to go console her because I didn't even realize what the fuck she was going through until you just said that earlier. So yeah, I can't. Yeah, she can't see like this. You're right.
And he laughs and he pats you on the back and he goes, no. Girls like when men are open with their emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, I don't know anything about girls.
Meanwhile, in the other room.
Before they come in, Rosalie, I'm assuming there's some waiting chairs. I don't know if we're sitting in them.
There's a couple of chairs. There's 2 chairs on either side of the bed, and then a countertop that's empty behind you.
Rosalie is going to be next to Vesper, and she's going to whisper loud enough for Essie to hear, but not loud enough because I'm assuming Vivian's busy doing her spell, right?
Vivian is fully concentrated. You would have to make an effort for her to hear you.
Hey, Vesper.
Yeah.
Do you know the laws around necromancy?
Rosalie.
Do I know the laws around necromancy?
History check?
That's a 16.
4.
You
24.
glance over at
24.
Dr. Motley and then look back at Rosalie, and you realize that necromancy is a complicated subject. Clerics practice necromancy all the time. In fact, you are 100% sure that what Dr. Motley is doing is a form of necromancy. She is performing some kind of, you can't tell exactly, but it appears to be either a resurrection or a raise dead spell of some kind. You know that it's perfectly legal for that kind of purpose, for healing magic. However, when necromancy is abused, it inherently becomes an illegal use of magic.
Yeah. I tried to remember. I'm probably like fiddling with like the hem of my shirt or something, like maybe melting the ice crystals from like the fight. And I go, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's part of what your mom is doing. And I look at Rosie. I'm like, it's a tool like anything else. It can be used and it can be abused, but I hope it works. And I look back at Cami.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to know.
Essie, do you have anything you want to talk about, or Vesper?
Pull out the vial and give it to Vesper.
So,
So I found this in the throne room, and I don't know what it is, but I figured if anyone does, it's you, right? Or,
Yeah.
Rosalie, maybe it's something you've learned in one of your cleric classes.
Does it resemble at all the fluids that from like the portals and
the
stuff?
fools.
Yeah, the pools.
Sort of, in that you can tell it contains the same kind of magic, but you're not sure it would have the same effect. So it's definitely of Fey origin.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you get this, Essie?
I was looking for a healing potion or something, and then I realized that, it wouldn't really work. I don't want Cami to get stuck there, and I figured I'd take it just in case, because,
Oh my god, you guys are actually adventurers. You guys looted.
I hold
Oh my god.
Well, now I'm sharing the loot, so you're an adventurer too, Rosie.
Yeah. It's a group project. We all pass or we all fail. I hold out my hand to Essie and go like, can I see it? I don't expect we're going anywhere for a little bit. And I like look, like tear my eyes away from Cami again. Do I have 11 minutes to cast Identify?
Yeah, you have. What Dr. Motley is doing will take an hour.
There we go. Then I spend 11 minutes casting. I like hold it in my hand and it's like I try and like I have my spell book open in my lap on the chair. And there's plenty of room because I am so small. And so I'm like reading past my hands and it's like quietly chanting to not like break Dr. Motley's concentration.
You cast this. It takes the remainder of the conversation that the pharaohs have outside the hallway for you to get an answer from your spell book. But as you finish up the spell, Vesper, your spell book flutters. The pages flutter, and as you lean down to inspect it, you hear a little voice in your head. I have no idea what this is, but it's definitely something new. So you've made some kind of wonderful arcane scientific discovery.
Vesper has just like probably just like go wide, and they like have to like hold it a bit tighter to just not drop it. Go, oh, hi. It's like probably recognize it because it's like it's not spoken before. It's like thank you, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I never really had a reason to talk to you since you cast that awakened spell on me on accident. I just kind of thought,
I know, I'm sorry, and I got all the cheese off your pages that cast.
I know,
I
I appreciate that. I just, I thought that, I thought we kind of had a thing going where, like, we understood each other intrinsically and didn't have to, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
But this time, again, I have no idea what the hell this is, so...
Yeah, I like put it down, and they're just probably watching me. I'm ignoring them. I put the vial down like in the middle of the spine so it won't move. And it's like I pick it up, and now I'm just talking to it. But I go, what's your name?
I am practical casting for intermediate spellcasters. That's my name.
Well, it's really nice to meet you. Practical casting for intermediate spell. I say the whole thing.
It's nice to
Can we hear him?
Yeah, so you can hear Vesper talking, but you can't hear.
Yeah, it's like the fiddle.
Yeah.
Are Ian and Fleur back yet?
Ian, you walk in and see your roommate holding his spell book open, having a very genuine conversation with it.
Yeah.
What is going on with all of you?
I think he's talking to the potion.
That's two of you now.
It could be the book. And Ian just walks over and like slides down the wall to sit next to Vess and says nothing.
Very well. I probably I don't even think I noticed, but I do go, I'll credit you if I write it up.
Thank you. I am, in fact, when you credit me, be sure to write down my publication date.
I make a note of that. I go, I'm gonna share with the others if that's.
Oh yeah, no, go ahead and do that. I'll talk to you later. And the book pages flutter again and it falls silent.
Ian just nods and he whispers the book.
Fleur goes and sits in the other chair.
I like run my hand over it. It's just like, oh, and like thank you. Like it's so much more special.
So yours
but
talks to you too?
I go, just I look at Essie and I'm like, just started. I grab the vial again. And it's like we understood, but I don't know what I imagined their voice to be. I don't know that it was that, but I like it. And I hand the vial back over and I go, unfortunately, it's something new. So I don't know the specifics. It's incredibly interesting academically and not very useful in the moment.
Wait, where did y'all get this?
Why don't you keep it then?
Essie found, and I look at Fleur, I'm like, Essie found.
Yeah, but we're a party.
Maybe we should have like a communal. Well, I guess Fleur's back is kind of a communal place.
Yeah, it is.
If you want to find something a little bit easier, you might try Aspen's new bag of holding.
Oh, please.
Because there's less shit in there.
Whatever.
And he just like glares at Fleur.
Whatever. I'm just saying, Essie could take it back, but we're not going to learn anything. But Vess, if you keep it, then you can figure out what it is.
Yeah, you could study it. Maybe take it to one of your professors.
To the labs.
Sure. I'm happy to do that if you think it's best. And I tuck it like in an inside pocket.
Jenny, back in a couple sessions ago, me and Essie handed Vivian some vials of the liquid to the hospital lab. Is that somewhere near walking distance from where we are?
Yeah, you can go like see the phlebotomist.
Maybe we don't have to go to school just yet to find out some information, but that would be willing. That's if we're willing to give up the vial. There's the lab in the hospital.
Do we trust them with it? I trespass.
That's true.
I think what Vess says is best.
Vess is best.
Yeah, I just go, I don't expect, it's like, I think my initial thought of it being like, oh, there's a ton of things we could do to sort of find out start to find out its properties in a like safe and controlled environment. And I'm like, I think, well, not only are they pretty busy, but I look at Rose and I'm like, do you think they have a mass spectrometer?
What is that?
As Vesper launches into a long tangent about what a mass spectrometer is, you all sort of settle in. A nurse brings in healing potions, dosed in those little like medicine cups, and you all take them, restoring you to 50% health. If you were already at 50%, you raise to 75% of your total HP. You don't get back any levels of exhaustion, but you do feel a lot better. Your wounds begin to close, your bruises begin to fade, though they still linger, and scars remain on your skin where you were hurt. You all sit there for quite a long time. Jack eventually enters the room and sort of stands in the corner, looking at all of you as Dr. Motley finishes her spell. The room glows with a bright golden red light. I have to roll a quick D100.
Oh my god.
Emmy's life.
Screaming, crying.
D100.
I have to.
Scariest
I'm sorry.
sentence Jenny
I'm
can
terrified.
say.
Rolling a D100 die. The room glows with a brilliant, bright gold light. It flashes so brightly that all of you close your eyes instinctually, and when you open them, again, it takes a few seconds for your eyes to adjust, little black dots dancing across your vision, interrupting your field of view. Your eyes focus, and you see Dr. Motley leaning over a young woman, her body completely still, her eyes still closed, her skin still bruised. Dr. Motley straightens her back up and goes, would you all go wait in the hall for a moment? I need to talk to Mr. Farrow.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just leave with the group. To the
Just
hall.
outside the door, Fleur does like the dramatic thing in movies where you like sit against and then fall down the wall.
Just like Ian had done earlier.
Yes.
Ian will do this
a Pharaoh
again
thing.
next to Fleur and like grab
sibling
her
thing.
hand.
Yeah.
I
Fleur leans
will
her head on
point at
Ian's
the
shoulder.
waiting chairs. I'm like, wouldn't you
No.
No.
Essie's gonna join just because she sees how dramatic it is.
There is a window to the room. Do any of you look through it?
Yeah.
I don't expect.
I'm not sure you'd be able to see it from the floor. Vesper, you can't see through it. Rosalie, you can
Okay.
look through it and watch if you want to.
Yeah, Rosalie will watch. Because, yeah, I'm assuming can't hear, just see it, right?
Rosalie, you peek through the blinds. You see your mom talking, gesturing with her hands the way that she does when she's a little bit agitated, and you see Mr. Farrow nodding intermittently as she says things. He seems to be giving one-word responses. At one point, he pulls out his cell phone and makes a quick call, nods along to whatever the person on the other end is saying, closes it, and then speaks to your mom. They sort of shake hands kind of awkwardly, and he puts a hand on her shoulder, and she sort of nods her head. The door opens, Jack walks out, closes the door behind him, and goes, Rosalie, your mother would like to speak with you if you can.
Yes, sir.
He holds the door open for you as you go through and turns to the rest of you and goes, I'm going to go speak with the hospital administrator. Ian, Fleur, I meant what I said. When you're all ready, shoot me a text. I'll be waiting outside.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go to inside the room.
Your mom is standing there. She has pulled a sheet over Cami's body and looks at you and says, The worship of the lady is uncommon, Quera, but from what I understand, her family practiced. I was wondering if you would help me assisting her soul crossing to the next plane.
Yeah. And Rosalie's going to bring out her old amulet and to hold it in her hands. And I know Cami's covered, but how does the process go? Could I hold on to Cami's hands?
Yeah, you
with-
can. You can
with the-
take a hand, yeah.
with the amulet in there.
You take one of her hands and hold your amulet against it, and your mother takes off her own amulet and holds it in her hand, and the two of you begin a prayer. It's not very long, it's fairly short. Both of your eyes are closed, but you feel soft warmth spread from your hand and your mother's hand, Cami's body, before you release her hands. When you are done, your mother looks at you and goes, baby, I am so proud of you. I know I say that all the time and maybe it's lost some meaning, but this is the hard part that I never wanted you to have to know. Because this calling is really special and you do a lot of good. But you also play a part in some of the worst things that ever happened.
I guess I really just didn't really know when what the leap of faith really entailed for. Thanks for being here, Mommy.
Of course, honey. Always. I'm always going to be okay, Rosie. And I'm so proud of you. You did everything you could. Really did. And baby, you did everything right.
And Rosalie's just gonna cut her off with a hug.
She holds you and you can feel that her face is wet against your shoulder. She's crying for you. She eventually steps away and goes, okay, bring your friends in, have them say goodbye, and then we'll go from there, okay?
Okay. As Rosalie leaves the room, I do have one question. Rosalie wants to look back, and is the sheet that's pulled over the hospital sheets, or is it Rosalie's blanket?
It's Rosalie's blanket.
Okay. And as Rosalie leaves, she's gonna look and try to see if she can make eye contact with Fleur. I don't know where Fleur is.
Fleur is on the floor.
and she'll look up at you as you come through the door.
Okay. And Rosalie's not gonna say anything. She's just kind of like tilt her head over and kind of wants to gesture towards Fleur. Like
Fleur gets up and goes towards Rosalie.
I think it's time to say goodbye, but I think I wanted you to be able to have it, to be able to say it first.
Thank you.
And Rosalie will grab her hand and go and sit over with the rest of her friends.
Yeah.
Just say, yeah. And so I'm already gone.
Yeah.
yeah.
Fleur walks into the hospital room. And is Dr. Motley still there?
Dr. Motley's there, but as you enter, she goes, do you like me to wait outside?
You can stay, it's fine.
Right.
It's up to you. You don't have to. I don't.
Whatever. Okay.
I'm not good at this stuff, Dr. Motley.
Well, unfortunately, I've had a lot of practice. So
I've had none.
She steps towards you and reaches over and takes your hand very gently, and it feels a lot like your mom's hand would.
Yeah, Fleur like holds it back and goes, I've never lost anyone. I didn't protect her.
Can't protect everyone.
I want to though, Dr. Motley. I want to.
Well, and forgive my vulgarity. You can want in one hand and shit in the other and see which one fills up faster, honey.
I know.
You did your best. And I can't pretend I know what it's like to be a physician, but I know what it's like to lose someone you care about. Sorry that this is happening. And I'm sorry I couldn't do.
You did your best.
I think her soul is just. She made a sacrifice, and I think it was a sacrifice she committed to.
I will never thank her enough for it. And I can't, which sucks.
But I hope you find comfort in the fact that she believed that there was some place waiting for her.
Yeah. And Fleur lets go of Dr. Motley's hand and just walks up to Cami and grabs her hand and says, I just wish we had more time. Because I think we would have really been friends forever. And then she lets go and leaves because she can't handle this.
Dr. Motley watches you go and sticks her head out of the door after you and goes, Ian?
Ian stands up and walks into the room, and
Aspen follows behind you.
Ian gives Dr. Motley kind of like a weak smile as he walks past her.
Sweetheart, do you want me to wait out in the hall?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
That's totally fine. Do you want Aspen with you, or should I bring him?
No, I'll take him.
Okay. She steps out into the hall and gives you some space.
Ian like walks up to the hospital bed and kind of looks down. I'm guessing that maybe her face is showing at this point, just so everyone can say bye.
Yeah.
She's
yeah, but there's a blanket pulled up basically up to her neck.
Okay. Ian kind of like just looks down for a minute. And he just whispers and he's like, hey sis, sorry we didn't get the chance to have any inside jokes or really make any memories. But you did give me the chance to make some more, so thank you. And he like kind of goes to like reach under the blanket and like grab her hand for a second, and then notices like his jacket on her, and he kind of like touches it for a second, and he's like, it looks better on you anyways. I'm sorry we couldn't find you faster. I'm sorry we couldn't save you in the end. And I'm sorry I didn't know you. But you are my sister. Either way, so thank you for that. And he just kind of like holds her hand for a minute, maybe sits down. I imagine Aspen stays nearby, and he might hold Cami's hand and pet Aspen simultaneously before he kind of once again tries to straighten up and look a little tough. He'll place her hand kind of back against her body and cover her up again and just say bye one last time before he walks out.
You walk back out. Dr. Motley lets you all back into the room to say your goodbyes as a group, and then she walks you towards the exit of the hospital. As she does, Jack meets you all and kind of gives you all a grim little smile and goes, I know that this has been a lot. Unfortunately, I think the day is not quite over yet. I spoke to management. Dr. Motley's shift has been ended. She will be taking a little bit of paid time off to spend some time with her daughter through all of this. And Dr. Motley goes, daughters, Essie, if you would like to spend the next week or so with us, I've already called Jean. They'll be picking up some dog food for Macbeth so that two can stay with us comfortably for the next week. We also spoke with our professors. We have had your finals delayed by a week, so you have some time to process everything what's happened. And maybe get some time with your families to cover. Essie, sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I think you're muted.
Oh. Thank you, Dr. Motley.
You could call me Vivian, honey.
Thanks, Vivian.
Jack opens up his car door and you all sort of climb in one after the other. Dr. Motley sort of smiles at you all and goes, I'll meet you there. If that's okay, Mr. Farrow. And Jack goes, of course, Dr. Motley. And it sort of hits you that these two people could not be any differenter from each other as Dr. Motley climbs onto a black motor scooter and begins to follow you as you drive down the street. You park outside of a little ice cream shop. Fleur, Ian, you recognize this place. Your dad used to take you here after Ian's junior tackle ball games back when he played flag tackle ball as a kid.
Not flag.
And Fleur, he used to take you here after every lacrosse game in high school. Just a cute little ice cream shop called Izzy's Ice Cream, run by the titular Izzy, a goblin woman who always wears very high heels, sparkly, glittery heels, with her hair in one of the tallest hairstyles you've ever seen. You take a seat in a corner booth. Dr. Motley and Jack sit at the ends. And Izzy takes all of your orders. Jack orders all of you hot fudge sundaes and hot chocolates. Ian, he specifies that he wants rice ice cream for you and soy milk in your hot cocoa. And Izzy goes to get your orders ready as you all sort of sit together in awkward silence. There's a couple of beats of quiet before Jack starts talking. So I have been appointed to escort Camila's remains back to Aquera.
Okay.
They will having her funeral there.
Can we go?
He pauses for a moment as Izzy returns and just balancing a giant tray and begins to deposit all of these hot cocos and hot fudge sundaes in front of all of you. He thanks her as she gives you all a big smile and walks away and goes, I don't think so, sweetheart. Things are about to get very complicated from a geopolitical standpoint.
We didn't do anything wrong, though.
I know that, and the investigation will show everyone that, but nonetheless, the Raylan government failed to protect the ambassador's daughter during a period leading up to the Concord, and there will inevitably a fallout from this. It's none of your fault, but it does mean that it's unlikely you'll be able to attend. At which point, Dr. Motley, who has just put a spoon of hot fudge in her mouth, pulls it out and goes, okay, I don't give any fucks about geopolitical consequences. These are children, and they deserve closure. And Jack kind of awkwardly straightens up and goes, well, closure's nice, but it doesn't prevent world wars. And Dr. Motley, scoffs very loudly and goes, I don't give any fucks about that. I care that my child and her friend are taken care of. Are you what? You don't care if your kids are experiencing grief and need an outlet, you're gonna like let them become sad, closeted adults who work for the military for the rest of their lives? And Jack like takes a really deep breath. You can see him just like suppressing all of the barbarian instincts and goes,
Fleur's like taking notes.
I'll speak to my wife about organizing a private memorial service. And Vivian slams her spoon down and goes, no, I will speak to your wife about organizing a private memorial service.
How about what about a group text?
Jack is like, no, actually, I do think delegating this one to both of them is going to be the better.
I think Mom and Dr. Molly would crush it, to be honest.
I think they might get along.
Okay.
Too. Dr. Motley has gone back to eating her ice cream, but every so often, like, looks over at Essie, who's just kind of across the table from her, and gives her a little like tap with her toes to like continue eating her own ice cream.
At one point, oh no, you go first.
I was gonna say, Ian's gonna pull out his sending phone and kind of like under the table text Fleur and be like, oh shit, I told Mom I like Rosalie and she told Dad. She's definitely gonna tell Dr. Motley. It just sits.
Fleur responds with, well, I'm quite offended since you didn't even tell me, even though it was exceptionally obvious.
It takes back, I knew you knew. Duh. Obviously, she just says. And then you dumbass. And then he responds back, just fuck, all caps.
And then Fleur kind of puts her phone away and looks at Essie and goes, hey, Essie, I know you're going to be staying with Rosalie. But I just want you to know that you can come see Carla like literally whenever you want. I'll drive you. You don't need an invite. If you want to take a bus, you can just show up. Like, my mom won't be upset. I won't be upset. Ian won't be upset.
She has a great room. The bed in there is really comfortable.
You can just come over.
Fit both of you if you needed, a sleepover.
Honestly, any of you could come. Like Vess, if
We
you
can
don't
go
want to be
camping.
alone at school, like honestly, if you don't want to be alone at school, the house will fit you. Like, we're happy for you to stay in my room, in Ian's second sleeping bag.
I have a lot.
Wherever. I think there's a spare bed. Like, you'd be happy to
We
I'd be
actually
happy to
have
you.
two
Make a
guest
tent
rooms.
out of one of Ian's sleeping bags if I tried.
That's true.
Yes, Essie, you are welcome to come see your sister whenever. She's been demanding to see you for the last week. So I'm very sure that she'd be excited to see you. We spoke to her mother a couple of times. She's okay, but she is not currently in a position where she feels she's capable of providing the care that Carla needs. So we've worked that out with the state and with her mom. Her mom and Carla visit each other once a week for a whole afternoon. So far they went to the Krillinian girl store, and Fiona made sure that her mother was the one to buy Carla any of the dolls that she wanted. So Carla's doing quite well. Also arranged for her to see a cleric who's been walking her through a lot of the feelings that she's been having about her parents. And we've had to put up an anti-magic rune in her room because for some reason she is fully capable of casting Eldritch Blast every time we attempt to confiscate a toy or a battery from her.
Yeah, that's what we wanted to tell you about.
No, we figured that one out pretty quickly.
Yeah, okay.
The circumstances of everything is a little unknown. There was a boy who came by the house.
Kyle?
Maybe he was a dirtbag.
Did he look like a shithead?
Yeah, smelled like cigarettes, lots of
Oh my
ugly
God,
tattoos. Just
I like him. Be nice.
anyways.
What's wrong with cigarettes?
What did Kyle say?
Yeah, Dr. Motley
His whole thing.
pulls out like a lighter and is like, yeah, what the hell's wrong with cigarettes? And Jack like looks over and is like, He came by dropped off some stuff, told me he actually was hoping to file a report with the police department. I told him I could take one myself. There's an open investigation from the Child Services Protective Unit here in the city against your father, Essie. I was hoping to maybe talk about that privately later. They will be calling you. They want some more information, but the goal is to maybe have a way to help your sister out of whatever it is your father's gotten involved with.
Thank you, Mr. Farrell, for everything, but also for especially letting Carla into your home.
She's a fantastic kid, and he grins at you, and as he says that, he like reaches underneath his collar and he pulls out what appears to be a macaroni necklace.
Oh my gosh! It's so pretty. You have your first costume jewelry.
You say that, and Dr. Motley breaks out in a gigantic grin and goes, "Sweetie, Gina's going to be so excited to have you spend the week with us." You all kind of settle in, you eat your ice cream. Essie, Dr. Motley is staring you down. Do you eat the entirety of your ice cream sundae?
Kind of. Particularly, Essie feels very out of control in a lot of ways, so I think honestly she'd probably push it around more than anything else.
She watches you and goes, "How do you feel about chicken noodle soup for dinner?"
It'd be really good for my voice.
And hot lemon tea?
Oh, Vivian.
And she gives you a big smile. Go ahead, Vesper.
Oh, I was going to say, at some point while sort of all this is happening, and if there's a lull or anything, I'd like to ask Fleur if you still have the photo of Cami that I found. Can I see it for a second?
Yeah. And Fleur
wanna
goes digging
take-
through her bag of holding and hands
Yeah.
it to Vess.
I want to take the photo and I want to like rip a piece of paper out of my notebook or something. And I want to sketch like Fleur, Ian, and Cami in like a happy, you know, it was
Family
like
photo.
Fleur's arms around Ian and Cami, and in a like, you might have gotten to have this for real, but hopefully this is something.
Fleur is sobbing like I am.
Can I have a performance or a sleight of hand check with
Oh
advantage?
my god.
Yeah.
You get advantage because that's so sweet.
I guess Ian's probably sitting next to Fleur, so he probably sees this too.
Oh
18.
hell yeah.
Oh,
It's a really good
God, for that
likeness
advantage.
of the three of you.
Fleur is like crying.
They
She's like,
even
I don't wanna get it
include,
wet.
like just the top of Aspen's head, the way that Aspen is always in photos.
Yeah.
Ian just like kind of like slams his fist on the table for a second. And he like lifts his head up like to like get rid of tears. He's like, "Shit, Bess, this is so
Fleur's like,
good.
that's the nicest thing anyone's ever drawn
It's
me in
really
my
so
life."
nice. You're the best roommate. What the hell?" And both he and I think we're probably
Oh,
like
yeah.
feeding off of this.
We
like,
are just
sad
having a
picture.
meltdown.
Bess like
drawing?
pats
Yeah.
both of their hands, but is also like uncomfortable at the sudden display. I'm like, I thought this was good. Like I thought I didn't mean to make you.
great.
This was
It's
supposed to be
so
a good
good
thing, and now
though,
you're.
Yes. You're
This is
you're,
so nice.
you're literally the sickest roommate.
Yeah.
And
You're
then
not my
you like,
roommate, but like I can say that because like he's my brother.
like
And I don't
sick in,
have
like,
one.
a good
And
way.
then Fleur starts crying again. Because I don't have
Sorry, I just
Jesus.
registered.
Thank you, Vess.
Ian just kind of like strokes the paper for a second, and he's like, "I think we should get this framed."
I was gonna say we should make copies. Right.
Bess, I know you're a wizard, but you know, you make one hell of a bard. I'm so sorry. You should be very proud of your art there.
Thank you, Essie. So should you.
You really spoke to your audience.
You all
Stitches is also here.
finished your meal. Your meal being a lot of ice cream. Essie, you sort of
As
push
it
yours
should be.
around, and as you do, Dr. Motley winds up ordering you a chamomile tea from Izzy, brings it for you, and sets it in front of you. You are then driven back home. Dr. Motley follows you back to the Motley house, where Essie and Rosalie are dropped off. Vesper, call your moms. They're very happy to hear that you're okay. And they ask you if you'd like them to come down and visit the next week at campus, or if you want to come back to the Bardic Center for a while, or if you would just like some space.
I probably I'm assuming this is a call because they're my moms. I'll say I think I can stay till finals. I'll be there the whole break, so it'll be okay. Can you text Dad for me?
Of course, sweet. Ian and Fleur go back to their home, and Vesper, you return to the empty dorm. Walk up to the elevator, take the elevator to your floor, and unlock your dorm room. Sitting on your desk, right where you left it, is the gift from your dad.
I'll take my stuff off. I'll like drop it on the floor and stuff, and go and sit on the bed with it.
You look at the note that reads, "Open when you find your stage."
Can I sort of like what's this called? Prestidigitation, the faint musical notes of the Sylvan lullaby that Essie and I learned,
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna have a mental break.
and hum along.
Deal. The box feels warm in your lap.
Is it like a latch, or is there something to untie, or is it just
There is like parchment paper taped around it that you were never able to like unpeel the tape off of or like rip open the paper on.
Mm-hmm. I reach over. I don't get up off my bed because I don't. That's a long jump still. But I'll grab like the small knife from my backpack and like gently try and pry it open.
The paper opens seamlessly. Beneath the parchment paper is soft tissue paper in a light lavender color that you push away to reveal the box's contents. There's actually a few gifts in here. The most notable appears to be a camera. An old camera.
Yeah.
An Molaroid, do you think they're called? They instantly develop whatever images are transcribed on them. Beneath it is a photo album. You open the photo album and you see pictures. Your moms have a lot of photo albums. Your dad was never really one to make them, but your moms are filled with pictures of you at musical concerts, awkwardly playing instruments with a pained expression on your face. These are pictures you don't remember anyone taking. Pictures of you studying. There's a picture of you at the county spell bee when you had to perform a series of cantrips perfectly. There's pictures of you at the book fair as a little kid, smiling hugely into the camera, holding up my very first practical casting book. There are pictures of you grinning at your high school graduation with your very favorite teacher at your high school, who was, of course, the arcane arts teacher, who always saw potential in you beyond just the bardic arts. There's copies of your report cards where you got straight C's in music classes with A's in all of your practical casting courses with big green marker letters next to it on the page that you recognize as your father's handwriting, as carefully written as possible, that says, "I'm proud of you, champ," in the most awkward way possible. The last 25 or so pages are blank, but there's a little note taped inside of them.
Mm-hmm.
Your father's handwriting. Do you want to read it?
I do read it.
It's written in Gnomish, and it says, "To Vesper. I know I haven't always been the best at expressing how proud I am of you or how much I love you, but I am, and I do. I always knew you were different. And I'm so glad you're doing what makes you happy and what you're good at, rather than what you think would make your mom and I proud. No matter the stage you choose, we'll always be there to give you a standing ovation. Love, Dad." The final item in this box is a little book with thick parchment pages and a little pen attached. On the first page, written in that same handwriting, is, "I know you don't need the pen, but it was included, and I didn't know how to tell the person at the stationery store that I didn't get it. It felt rude. This is for all of the brilliant spells I know you'll develop. Can't wait to brag to everyone I know that my child is the brightest wizard of their generation."
I'm going to tuck the note into my current spell book. First of all, like in the front cover. I'm gonna take the pen in my hand. I'm gonna summon the tiny quill and make it look like the pen.
Oh,
Like the shitty stationery store.
Rest in peace to the tiny quill.
To the tiny quill. And I'll like turn on the one shitty like desk lamp that you always have, and just that, and then sort of spend the night trying to like draft it just in on like the legal scratch pad or something, draft all the stuff we know so far, and it's like the of things like just trying to, because I'm not going to be able to go to sleep, so.
Perfect. You spend most of the evening scribbling away in the quiet of your dorm room. In the Motley house, Essie and Rosalie, Vivian, Jean, and Harry all reunite. Harry makes homemade chicken noodle soup. The noodles are big enough, Essie, that you're able to pull them out if you don't want to eat them. And even as you do, and Dr. Motley looks at you with a little bit of concern. She seems to weigh her options and seems very happy to watch you eat the chicken. Macbeth eats the noodles off your plate, paws on the table, and no one scolds him. You all get ready for bed, and Vivian brushes Rosalie's hair and braids it back for her, and then does the same for you, Essie. And she looks at you both, Eugene, standing behind her, one hand around her waist with Harry's hands on his shoulders, and goes, I'm so proud, both of you. You've had a really, really hard year so far, but I'm glad it happened, Essie, because we got you out of it, and I know that you are the friend Rosalie's always dreamed of. Essie, I think you're muted? No, you're not.
No, I'm not. I'm just emotional. Rosie's the best sister I could have ever asked for. Don't tell Carla I said that.
Um,
And Vivian, I really wanted you today, and I'm really glad that Rosie has you, and I'm really glad you're here.
Glad you're here, okay, baby.
Rosalie's gonna grab Essie's hand and she's gonna look at Vivian and kind of go, "Hey, Mommy, I know we're big girls now, but could you read us a story like old times? We can make room." And Rosalie's gonna scoot over on the tiny bunk bed.
Oh my gosh.
Your mom grins a huge grin, goes over to the bookshelf, and sort of runs her finger along spines of endless romance novels until she reaches a picture book called The Princess and the Furblorg. Pulls it from the shelf and sits down next to you. Jean grins and goes, "I love the story too. Can I?"
Oh,
Yeah. And Rosalie, I don't know what the order is, but Rosalie's gonna,
You
sit
sort
next
of-
to Essie so we can all
Yeah, you
squish
slide
together.
down, and Vivian scooches over a little bit and makes room for Jean, who sits right next to her. And Rosalie, you can't help but notice that they put a hand on her thigh as she starts to read, and she goes, "Well, yeah, who's gonna do the Furblord voice, if not you?" Harry sort of watches this whole exchange and then sits at their feet and leans his back against your mom and dad's legs, and she reads you the story. Halfway through, Harriet comes in and lies her head down on her dad's lap and listens as well, and you all kind of fall asleep there in a big pile in your childhood bedroom.
And me and Essie, I'll braid one hair braid on.
You
Harriet.
add to you both braid Harriet's hair.
and Harry's.
Harry, you start to braid his hair and he sort of like swats you away a couple times, but Harriet winds up braiding his beard. And yeah, you all fall asleep in a big pile. The next morning, Essie, your phone rings.
Oh, I'll pick it up. I'll pick it up.
Does it wake me up too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Is this Esther Hepburn?
Yes, this is them speaking.
This is Natalie calling from Stonesea Rehabilitation Center.
Oh, fuck.
Yes?
I'm just calling because your mother listed you as her next of kin, and I thought I would let you know that she checked herself in last night.
Oh, fuck. I thought she died. Jesus Christ.
Can I talk to her?
Unfortunately, the first 48 hours are sort of a treatment program. She's not really responsive right now, but I would be happy to let her know that you want to talk as soon as possible.
Yeah, and can you let her know one more thing?
Yes, of course.
Can you let her know that that I miss her?
Oh.
Yes, sweetheart, I'll pass that right along.
Thank you.
No problem. And this is the number you can contact her at when she is available. We'll just have to give your full name and her full name, and we'll do our best to get you conversation with her, okay?
Thank you.
Of course, sweetie.
I'll hang up and Assie's gonna turn over to Rosie. My mom checked herself into rehab.
Do you want to go? Do you want me to come with you?
I'll go soon. But I think right now it's more important for me to be there for you.
Rosalie hugs Essie.
Essie hugs Rosalie and is also just gonna say, you know, I know that I'm not a follower of the lady, but you were really amazing out there.
Hey,
I
hey,
am so proud to be your friend.
that's what friends are for.
I'm
And-
super lucky that they randomly assigned us to be roommates.
I'm lucky that I got to. Essie, it's been a pleasure to be your friend and an honor, lady or not. But and Rosalie's gonna hug her one more time, and as she pulls away, she's gonna hold out her little necklace and reach it out for Essie to complete it.
You know, we use this to try and find you.
You two tap your necklaces together, and when you do, they click together, and you realize that they have little magnets in them.
Oh, did it work?
You better never take it off, okay?
I wouldn't dream of it.
I won't take mine off either.
So, the week passes. You return to school, all of you. Fleur, half of your room is still empty. Noticeably so, and as you open the door, it hits you for the first time that Cami is never coming back to this room. Essie and Rosalie across the hall drag their mattresses in and spend the week leading up to finals on the floor of your room with you. Make it feel a little less lonely. Rosalie lights dozens of scented candles, so the room smells like lavender and jasmine and glows golden in the light of Her Lady's Grace, as Rosalie says. Vesper and Ian show up and spend a night on the floor as well, on bedrolls that Ian has for camping, in sleeping bags. One that is far too large for Vesper, but they make do nonetheless. And you study for finals together. Finals roll around. They are varying degrees of easy and hard. You take them a week later than everyone else. All of your advisors seem very nice about it. Essie stitches, pulls you aside, and gives you a sandpapery kiss on the hand after you take your exam.
Oh.
And in a strange twist of fate, your final grades arrive on the same day as Essie's memorial service, delivered to your inboxes. You open them all one by one. Fleur on your laptop, Vesper on your computer. Ian then opens his right after you on the same computer. Essie and Rosalie, you open yours at the same time in tandem with your pinkies linked together. Fleur, you discovered that you have gotten A's in your barbarian courses. However, you just failed your history course.
That's okay, I figured.
About 2 points too low.
Yeah.
Rosalie, despite not doing well on your midterms, you get A minuses in all of your exams, electives, and cleric courses. Essie, you also receive A minuses in your bard courses and your electives. Vesper, you receive a perfect A in both your wizard classes and your elective courses. Ian. The exams were hard. You still haven't quite processed everything that's happened, and trying to return to normalcy or some semblance of it while dealing with everything just didn't feel right. It didn't hit you. Something within you just can't. It's hollow. It's strange. You never needed anything more than you had before. Before you knew that Cami was your sister, your family was all you needed. And now, still, your family is all you needed, but someone's missing. And it feels like a piece of you is gone every time you change your clothes and look down at that new birthmark on your chest. Something in you shatters a little bit, and you just can't bring yourself to focus on the exams. You fail your ranger classes
No.
by just the smallest bit.
No.
The curve doesn't help you, but you do get a kind email from Giannis telling you that grades aren't everything and that he's still proud of you for showing up nonetheless. Your computer literacy course and your other elective are not nearly as close.
Oh.
You fail those by a considerable margin. And as you close your grades with a weary sigh, Vesper puts their hand on your shoulder. The university has allowed you to progress through this semester as long as you pass the next semester's courses. But you're not sure you're going to necessarily maintain a full ranger major at this point. You all collect yourselves, walk together to Fleur's Buggle, and pile in. It's too cold to ride the motorcycle. And drive to the Motley house. You park your car outside and unload one at a time, and you can see Dr. Motley standing on the porch, smoking a cigarette. She puts it out and grins as you all come and says, "It's so good to see all of you." She's dressed not in her scrubs and not in the torn, battered combat boots punk way you've always seen, but in a mid-length black dress with cap sleeves, her hair brushed neatly, no heavy eyeliner, no gauged ears, just looking professional and somber. She puts out her cigarette, holds open the door and lets you all in, and Essie, a tiny, high-speed Fleur, tackles you into a ginormous hug. Your sister's hair is brushed into pigtails, held in place with those little bead...
the baubles.
Yeah, little bauble holders. She's in a new dress. She grins at you with just the biggest smile and tells you how happy she is, showing off her new doll. I missed you.
I miss you too. We saw each other 2 days ago.
I know, but I
missed
miffed you. I miffed you. Fiona mommy got me this new dress to wear. And mommy said it makes me look pretty.
It makes you look super pretty.
Mommy called me yesterday.
Mommy called you?
Mommy
Did you like
called.
talking to mommy?
Mommy, yes, she sounds sad. But Fiona mommy says that she's working really hard to get better for me.
Your mommy loves you very much.
My mommy loves me very much, she told me.
Yeah.
And Jack Daddy, he bought me one of those little cars that are my size that I can drive around in the backyard.
Oh my god.
You are gonna be super good at driving.
I am.
Oh my
She
God.
toddles off in the direction of Harriet, who's also in all black, who picks her up and spins her around and brings her into the backyard to play. The rest of you walk into the house. Jack is there in a black button-down shirt. He gives you all a hug and then has to leave very quickly, presumably to go take care of business. Fiona smiles at all of you. Her blonde hair still wild, crazy, curly, dressed in a black dress very similar to Dr. Motley's. The two of them speak in hushed tones and giggle, and you realize that they have become very fast friends.
I love that for them.
Despite very different aesthetics. They bring you all into the living room where a folding table has been set up. There are tinfoil covered casserole dishes filled with lasagna, mac and cheese, every food you could possibly imagine for comfort. And across from it is another plastic folding table covered in framed pictures. There's one of Cami and Fleur at their first lacrosse game, their arms around each other, grinning, Fleur has a nosebleed and Cami has a black eye. There's a picture of Ian, Cami, and Fleur on Parents' Weekend, smiling as awkwardly as possible at the camera. Half a dozen selfies of Fleur and Cami taken with the camera angled like this from high above. And there's a copy of the drawing that Vesper's done. Someone, probably Jean, has gone in and filled it with watercolor to better reflect its subjects, and it's been framed, kind of put in a place of honor. And there's one last picture, Ian, that you've never seen before. You stop, Aspen sits next to you, and you pick it up and look at it for a long time. It's a picture of two babies in a hospital bassinet. Not quite newborns, a little too old. One wrapped in a soft pink blanket, the other in a blue blanket. Similar tubby cheeks, but one with pointed ears and darker skin. One very obviously human. Smiling up at the camera together. Their little pudgy hands kind of clasped together. You look at it for a long time. Fleur walks up beside you. Aspen leans his head against you, and you look up and you look to your left and to your right, to your sister, to your dog, to the two creatures, two beings that have always tethered you to this world, and you feel those ties between you. One or two of them, one or two of the dozens, snap. And something pulls you a little bit closer to a different world. Something within you changes. You feel something dark and arcane churn with your soul. Vesper, you watch your friend look at this picture of sisters he never got to love, both of their roles. And something in your satchel burns so hot it scalds you through the fabric. You run to the bathroom to check to make sure you haven't burned yourself, and notice a mark, the shape of a vial, burned into the flesh. Die. We will be back next season after everyone finishes their freshman year for Eylas University's sophomore slump. Until then, take care of each other, be good to each other, and I can't wait to see you all so soon for season 2. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to my wonderful players, and big thank yous to Cam and Stacy for joining us for this campaign. You have added so much. And
you really have.
I'm so grateful you guys are
cry
here.
like 8 times today.
Yeah, Cam, welcome to DMing by Jenny. It is incredible.
Fully hit now.
And you will cry, but it's like super good.
Pip and I are here with eyes dry. You guys are just weaklings.
I'm soft.
I have like
I
a
know.
wet paper towel.
I literally sobbed.
I do want to say, and I think I speak for all of the players here, Jenny, you are truly an absolutely amazing DM, person, friend, everything. But like,
Why you gotta make us
seriously,
cry?
like, seriously, thank you for making this world for us, for like all the little subtle unspoken moments between you and every single one of us, for everything. You are an impeccable storyteller. You are an awesome at voices, and just could not ask for a better DM.
We agree.
Agreed.
Yeah.
You can hurt me anytime.
Yeah. Listen,
That is consent, baby.
it is consent to
DM
cause
also
us
means
pain.
dominatrix.
I can't.
Killing everything I love.
I cannot wait for sophomore year. I cannot
I
wait.
love you guys. I can't wait to throw you into your sophomore slump. Everyone's got to
It's
hit it
gonna
at
be
some point.
fun.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us this season. I can't wait to see you all next season and just share more of these incredible characters with all of you, because it's a story that we love telling. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you soon.
Kaka!
Thank you all so much for watching and listening to the first season of Tabletop Tavern Eylas U. We had so much fun recording the gang's freshman year for you all, and we cannot wait for Tabletop Tavern Eylas U Sophomore Slump, which we promise will be coming to you very, very soon. If you want updates on when Season 2 will be premiering, I highly suggest you follow us on Twitter as well as on TikTok, where we'll be posting memes from the first season as well as videos and content while we prepare for Season 2. If you feel like you're needing more D&D in your life, we also have our entire first campaign available for you to watch, Songs from the Sea of Trees, which is 47 episodes of D&D deliciousness. And you can even see yours truly have a villain arc. It's really fun. So we promise we'll be back with Season 2 very soon, and go Griffins!